What happens when two seasoned business leaders get together? They talk shop, of course. Sit back and listen in as Scott DeLong and Vince Moiso share from their experience around current issues facing executives, entrepreneurs, and their leadership teams. The CEO Podcast starts now.
Hey everybody, Scott DeLong here with my partner Vince Moiso. Got the flag behind us. We got the Independence Day coming up next weekend, and I think what we decided we were going to talk a little bit about being grateful. The whole gratitude thing, what this does for us, and what we owe back for it as well, I think is part of that. So anyway, happy Independence Day. Congratulations, America. Let's do better.
Right?
Yeah, let's do better.
We were just talking about, I think, there's so many topics that we love to discuss around business and leadership and communication and all these things that we've discussed over the past year or so. I mean, we're on episode 23 at this point, and
in season 2.
Yeah, I mean, so I think it's a great time to just take a pause, step back, enjoy the view, be grateful. And we thought of this topic of gratitude, and I thought even of myself, as fast paced as I can get, and the number of things that I have going on at any moment. Sometimes I don't pause enough just to be completely thankful for everything that I have and everything that I'm able to do, the life that I live, the place that I live. I have a habit with my wife. I mean, when we eat every night, especially when we're eating at home, even if we have friends over, kids are there, whoever it is, we go around the table and say what we're thankful for. And it often is just a great reminder that there's so many things to be thankful for, even throughout your day, throughout your week, and certainly throughout your life.
So it's a new concept for me. When I say new, in the last 10, 12 years or so, as I've been doing my growth, is there's always been somebody there, whether it's my father, coaches, and those sorts of things. Absolutely. But I always thought that I was the one doing all the hard work, right? And that's how I kind of grew up. Just kept pressing, kept doing the hard work, and maybe at the end of the season you buy your coach a gift, and that's kind of it. And my life has changed so much since those days, and to show appreciation, and not just for those that are helping me, that are above me and helping lift me, but the people that are helping me support me, that are providing, whether it's even administrative assistant type work, not even, but administrative assistant work, the people that are working in the warehouse, people that are doing those people need to be shown the gratitude as well, not just the paycheck.
No, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's funny when you say that. It's like there was such a big part of my life, as I was younger, and then starting out in business and taking a more entrepreneurial path. I there's a bitterness, a loneliness in saying, nope, I did that. Yeah. I don't owe anybody anything, and it's like I got to a point where I didn't ask for help. I wouldn't ask for help. Certainly if it came to finances, like, not even being able to allow anyone to pay for my meal.
Right.
I was so adamant about not having, I just didn't want to owe anybody. And it was just all about, it was me, right? I was like, nope, I did that. I did it on my own. Just this fierce independence. And it's a lonely path. And then as I've learned, I've done a lot of self-development, self-discovery, self-awareness is, I've learned to just appreciate those around me and appreciate the mentorship that I've had. I mean, I went so much of my life where I didn't even understand mentorship, yet I had a lot of mentors and coaches around me, but didn't really appreciate or realize what that was. And I'm thankful for all those people in my life that certainly have shaped me, shaped my environment.
It's interesting. We have every other episode we have a guest on the podcast, and almost always when a guest comes here, and the way I look at it is doing me a favor by being here, right? Because we don't do this over Zoom. They've got to be sitting here, so they've got to drive down to San Clemente and all of that. And every single time somebody sends me an email and thanks me for the opportunity. And I think it's just the opposite. Like, you're doing me the favor, right?
No. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah. I wow. And then I look at that and see the power in that,
Yeah.
and in what they're doing as well. They're showing humility, they're showing gratitude, they're showing that, and that elevates them in my mind.
Yeah.
Right. One of the things when I'm coaching people, there's a lost art of the handwritten note, right? And one of the things that I tell people all the time, get yourself some thank you notes and put it in the mail.
Yeah, I agree. Powerful.
You get an email that says thank you. That's great. That's wonderful. It's nice. That's right. It's nice someone does that. But when that card comes in the mail and someone put a stamp on it, right? This old school thing of doing that. So I make it a practice to send handwritten thank you notes out to folks now, where I wouldn't have before, because before it was just transactional. Back 30 years ago when I'm doing stuff, hey, you did this for me, I did this for you, we're even. Like, it's transactional. Yeah, but what's going to incent them to want to do that again, or what's going to make me feel good about my part in that? And it gets back down to that gratitude. I used to laugh when people would say, write a gratitude journal. It'll change your life. Well, you know what? It does.
It does.
It does.
Well, we talk so much about this whole concept of giving and receiving also, right?
Yeah.
And, I find it much easier to give, and I enjoy that, and I enjoy paying it forward, and I try to do it as much as possible. I am just a terrible receiver, and I said
but
earlier,
you're better. You're better than you
much
were.
Better, much better. Yeah, no question. I work very, very hard at it. But I talked about just the fierce independence that ruled so much of my life, and even all the way down to paying for a meal, right? And I've gotten so much better at just saying thank you. Reality is this: when somebody wants to give you a gift, if somebody wants to offer mentorship or offer their time or pay for a meal or whatever it might be, they wouldn't offer it if they didn't genuinely want to do it. And sometimes you just need to say thank you. Just receive it with grace and humility and say thank you.
And not doing that grace and humility is actually a disservice to the other person. Disrespecting the other person because they went out of their way to do whatever it is that they're doing for me.
Yeah.
And so I just learned, and it is uncomfortable. Someone wants to buy my dinner.
I have a hard time with it.
It's very uncomfortable
honestly,
for me. But I've learned these two words. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was really nice.
Let's
Thank
say
you.
Together, Scott.
Thank you. Yeah. It's a big deal. I'm not disrespecting somebody when they're trying to do something for me. And that's how I actually had to train my mind. I actually had to put it in that you're disrespecting them by telling them, no, I don't deserve this.
Yeah.
No, they felt you did deserve this. So thank them. Really, really simple.
It's such a simple thing.
Yeah.
I tell you, so in the spirit of independence, too, the first thing that came to my mind when we talked about this topic of gratitude, I've traveled the world. I mean, I've been so blessed to have an international business career that has taken me all over the place, from China to Germany to the UK to Portugal to Spain, Canada and Mexico, and literally all over the United States. And we live, as far as I'm concerned, and I can't be objective about it, but living in Southern California, there is no place in the world, at least that I have experienced, that's like this place that we live in. And I am so thankful for all the idiosyncrasies of it. It's expensive, state income tax, all the stuff that I think people complain about Southern California. It is one of the most beautiful, one of the most incredible places you could possibly be and to live. And I'm so thankful for it. And I'm so happy to come home. But let me just say this. That's California, great, and not everybody gets to experience the weather and everything else that goes along with being in California. But let's just talk about the United States in general. The United States is a very, very incredible place to be, and whatever your politics are,
even with all the dysfunction we've got going on right now,
we've got a lot of dysfunction.
Yeah, we do.
But that's also partly what makes us special is all of that, and regardless of what side of politics you sit on, if you can't appreciate the freedom and variety and all the comforts that we're afforded as American citizens, why do you think so many people clamor to become American citizens? Why do you think so many people in this world want to be in the United States? Because there is no other place in the world like it, and I'm thankful for being here.
And I didn't know that until I started traveling, and I've gone to a lot of different places, not on business, but all my travel has been in either personal or educational travel. And what I've found, especially with the educational travel, is you go to places that you don't normally. We're not a resort, right? You're going out in the world and seeing how people are living. And the thing that I've noticed, even in some of the third world countries, how grateful people are for the little that they have.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they had this thing behind them?
They got the abundance that we get to experience.
And maybe that's where I learned from them more so than in my business world is in the travel world, and watching humble people with very little doing seemingly basic things and being happy at the same time, grateful for what they have. I remember a trip we took down to Costa Rica, and I had my young son with me, and we were driving down the road, dirt road, driving down the road. There was a little old lady in front of her porch sweeping out the porch, just sweeping the porch out. And my son was mad. He was like, why doesn't this government do something for her? This little cracker box that she lives in, and this. I said, dude, this is a blue zone. The people are happy here. And he just didn't understand it. He said, but all she does, and tomorrow she's going to get out and she's going to sweep those same thing. You know what she's sweeping it for? She's sweeping it because her husband and her sons are out making a living, picking fruit, doing whatever they're doing, right? And they're going to come home at night. She's going to have this meal cooked for them. Then they're going to sit out on that porch and just talk, have a conversation with their family. And he just couldn't see. Well, yeah, but they don't have quads, and they don't have boats, and they don't have, the things that we have.
We project, right? We project our own happiness on those type of things, and that's what I think world travel can give you, the experience of understanding that it's relative to someone's situation, and happiness is subjective, frankly, and
it's your choice.
I know a lot of unhappy people that have everything, and I know a lot of happy people that have nothing.
Yeah.
So happiness is very subjective. It's what you choose to make of it, and I think you start to understand that. I'm simply making a point, as you live in America, as you're an American, and I'm very proud to be American. And I'll say this one anecdote in a second, but as you understand what we have available to us in abundance, most of the rest of the world does not. And that's just an incredible thing. I mean, I'll give you this one anecdote. Well, first, I'll say I'm incredibly thankful for the fact that my Italian grandparents came over here during World War II and escaped northern Italy at that point and migrated to California. And so how blessed am I to have been, born and raised in Southern California as a result of that. Had my grandparents not done that, I would not be here. I did get the opportunity to live in Italy, so I spent, the better part of 6-7 months or so living in the north of Italy. And it's so funny, when you grow up Italian American, really we cling to ethnicity, right? And so anybody would ask you, hey, what are you? What's your name? What's your ancestry? And proudly, I'm Italian, right? Well, let me tell you, I went and lived for more than 6 months in Italy, and I very proudly say that I'm American. Because I'm not Italian.
Right.
I am American. Yeah. I'm born and raised here, and until I went and had that direct experience, I was clinging to an ethnicity that wasn't mine. I am, in fact, I'm Californian, and I'm very, very proud of that fact, and it changed my mindset.
So I'm gonna wrap that back to something that I learned in a business class. The professor said he was a lawyer, but teaching a business law class, and he said something that startled me. I was young at the time. He said something that startled me. He says the difference between entrepreneurialism here and in Europe are our bankruptcy laws. Shocked me. In Europe, if you started a business, got a lot of debt, died, your kids owe that debt. Right? Happens here. I start this business, so we have the opportunity to take more risk. Those are bankruptcy laws. Now, I'm not a big fan of bankruptcy.
Yeah, sure.
Right. I think too many people have abused it. But that's something that the United States put in play.
Yeah.
for us to be the leaders in product development, patents, and entrepreneurialism is the ability that our government gave us there. Again, I'm not a fan of bankruptcy.
No, but it's a powerful
However,
thing.
it was something that someone in our country thought about because they wanted us to be the leaders in this business environment. And guess what? We have been.
Yeah.
Right?
No question.
So it's you can complain about government all you want, but find one that does a better job than ours.
Yeah, who does it better? That's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I challenge any of our listeners to go and experience the world for yourself.
You're not allowed this sort of division that we have in our country in a place like Russia.
Yeah.
You couldn't be anti-government there and get away with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Or China.
China. Yeah. We're fortunate to be here, to be able to have your voice, to be able to do the things that you want to do, to try the things that you want to try, and be supported in those efforts. So great to be American.
No, and the fact that we can fight the battles for whatever it is that we want or feel passionate about or feel strongly about, I think is a pretty incredible freedom to be thankful for.
Yeah. However, I don't want to take it so far as to take all of those positives and become arrogant about it. Right? I don't think the rest of the world wants to be us.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people in the world want to come and experience, but I don't think that we need to be able to force our way of life on others. In fact, that's where most of our conflict comes.
No,
and
I'm not suggesting that.
Yeah.
I just, for me, I the American lifestyle suits me. So
San Clemente lifestyle
happy.
suits me. I'm good.
Yeah, San Clemente suits
here.
me. I'm good. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for all of that. No, like I said, I'm thankful for family, for the mentorship that I've had over the years, for the coaching, for all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's just the lifestyle. I can tell you that where I sit today, I would have never dreamed it when I was in high school or even younger. So it's an incredible thing, and I'm very, very, very.
So what do you think provided those opportunities? Right. So you couldn't dream it when you were in elementary school, let's say, and all of a sudden you're starting to live this life. How does that happen? Where do you see sparks? Do you see places that said, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have been here? You mentioned with your grandparents being in America, great. But you just said...
Those are things, yeah, those, so I would say, where we're born and who our parents are, we don't have a choice of that, right? Like, that's not our choice. We're just, we're born to who we're born to, our family. We don't necessarily get to choose our biological family, right? Certainly that can change over someone's lifetime, and you can choose a different family, of course, but we don't choose our biological family, and we don't get to choose where we're born. So everybody's born in a different place. So I was lucky enough. That's why I do call that luck in that sense. The rest of it, you become a product of your environment, right? And that's the mentorship I'm talking about, whether you realize it happening or not, but you become a product of what's around you as you're growing up and the education that you get as you're growing up. I had parents that were very, I had a mother that was very involved in my life, and education was very important to them. Neither one of them were college educated. My grandparents were not college educated. But it was important that I went to a private school, and even though they could barely afford it. Yeah. and my dad was blue collar, and he made sure that all through high school, I mean, by the time I was 13, I had a paper route, and I worked all through high school. I played 3 sports and still worked. And so I understood the value of money and having it. I mean, essentially it was, if I wanted something, I had to have my own money to get it. And so I had to figure out, well, how do I do that? Right? And that's a lot of when I talked earlier about the fierce independence, that's where a lot of that independence comes from. Was at a very early age, it was, hey, you want it, go get it. And so I learned that very, very, very quickly. So then I understood if I wanted something, I had to find a way to go get it, right? And I'm self-taught in a lot of ways. What I didn't realize is I had a lot of mentorship. That I had a lot of people around me that was offering mentorship, and I didn't take it. Including brothers and sisters, and there's a decade that separates my sister and I. I'm the youngest of 5. And so I've got incredibly talented and intelligent brothers and sisters, and I've had football coaches and teachers that have just been incredible to me. And I think I took essence from all of them, but didn't quite really understand what true coaching and mentorship was at that time. And as I understand it today, I would have taken them all up on their offer.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there was a path. Here's what I knew. My parents moved from Southern California right before I was going into high school. I was going in 8th grade, and they moved to Oregon. So I went to 8th grade in high school up there. Had a great experience up there, but I knew I was going to come right back to Southern California. And I did. I ended up at the University of San Diego, and I've never left other than, traversing the world here and there. But I knew this was the environment I wanted to be in that was going to offer me more than what I could get from being up there, and it has. But you don't know what you don't know, right? You only know what you know. So as what I did know is I knew I didn't know much, and I had to figure out how to know more. And so the one commitment that I made early on was I wanted to be a learner. And I have grown an insatiable appetite for learning and mastering things, and I think that really launched a path toward entrepreneurship for me.
So I'm going to give credit in a little different direction, more lateral direction, I think, because certainly parents, coaches, teachers, all of those things played their parts in my life. But I want to give credit to the peer relationships, to my friends. You said we were a product of our environment.
No question.
And we, in the old saying about becoming the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
And I think about that a lot, and who I'm spending time with, and what those folks are doing for me as well, pushing me without pushing me. It's been pretty amazing. One group in particular that I'm going to call out, and you know them well because you were part of it, are part of it, and that's Entrepreneur Organization, which is a peer relationship group.
Yeah.
First time in my life,
Changed my life.
I was 50, just turning 50 when I got involved with Entrepreneur Organization, and it was the first time in my life where I'd go into a room. I wasn't a subordinate and I wasn't the boss. I was part of this group, and there were no subordinates and there were no bosses in this group. It was this interesting flat relationship on people that have stories. Interesting stories that move their career, move their lives, change them, and learning from them. And now I try to do that with others as well, right? Not just this business group, but I try to learn from, we were part of Al-Anon and Nar-Anon groups as well, and I want to learn from those folks as well.
Yeah.
So peer-to-peer relationships that in the past 10, 12 years that have made my progression the greatest, versus going back and wondering which coach had the biggest influence.
Yeah.
And they all did their thing.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, and allowed me to become whatever. But in the last 12 years or so, it's the peer-to-peer, the people that are at my level, socially, economically, spiritually, whatever. The struggles, same kind of struggles that have added the most amount of growth for me, and that I spend most of my time thanking those folks.
Equal. I could agree with you more, and I could read a laundry list of friends from, high school, my best friend from high school, and then certainly the guys that I played football with in college. We're a close-knit group. We still are today. Mm-hmm. Those guys pushed me to a level that, I didn't know I could get to. And then since then, you fast forward to EO and the friendships that I've had. I mean, two of my very, very best friends in the world, they push me to great limits, and I agree. On top of that, what came to mind as you were talking about that is that I've been married 25 years, and my wife is my rock. Like, she's my partner and supports me in incredible ways. Like, I am not an easy person to live with, and oftentimes not the easiest person to be around, and yet she's still here, and she's my biggest cheerleader and my biggest fan in so many ways. And then having 2 daughters completely changed my life.
I was going to bring up the kids.
I'm so thankful for them. I mean, just having them in my life, and what I've learned from them. I try and impart as much wisdom as I possibly can, to the point of annoyance, I'm sure. But I think I've learned so much more from them than they'll ever know.
Well, I was going to say, it's happening just the opposite in my house these days. My 23-year-old recently moved back home, and he is trying to impart as much wisdom on his father as he possibly can right now, because I'm just not smart enough. I still make way too many mistakes, and it's kind of fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
And there's good messages there too. It's not like I'm making fun of him. He's got good messages in there, but it's interesting to watch this happen.
Yeah.
I'm not in my wheelchair yet, and he doesn't have to push me around, but he's still trying to teach me things, which is really cool.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. At 19, I would have told you I know everything. At 48, I will tell you I absolutely do not know everything. I know very little, and I know there's so much more for me to continue to learn, and I'm happy to do so.
Yeah.
And thankful for that. I've completely embraced that. That's a lifelong journey, and I'm thankful for it. Well, we're getting to that point. Is there anything else that?
No, we're just gonna continue to beat a dead horse. I mean, we could sit here and give our acceptance speech for the Oscar and thank everybody down the line if we
they
want.
Love me. They really love me.
Yeah. But the fact is that you said, talking about happiness is a state of mind, I guess. But I think there's an equation there, that gratitude leads to happiness.
Yeah.
Just so go back to that first thing that we talked about, that gratitude. You want to be happy? Start there.
Yeah.
Start there. Being appreciative of the things that you have, not of what you want, but of the things that you have. The people that are around you, the environment that you get to be in, no matter what that environment is, it's probably better than a lot of people's.
Listen, there's all kinds of things that you can do, by the way. So Scott mentioned earlier our gratitude journal. So I do know several people that do actually journal what they're thankful for on a daily basis. You can simply just say what you're thankful for on a daily basis. I told you what we do as a family is anytime we get together for a meal, we say what we're thankful for that day. That's a simple thing to do. I do.
It gets easier as you do it more often too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No,
the first time you bring a family together to try that, it's a little awkward.
It is, and now it's super easy. Yeah. And actually, it's really simple. When other people come and eat with us, and we do that, and it's very, very simple. But we love it. We enjoy it. Another thing is too is I meditate, not as consistently as I would like to, but I use the app Headspace if you've ever heard of that, and they have themed meditations, and the one actually that I'm on, ironically, currently is called Appreciation, right? And so every day as I'm listening to this meditation for 15 minutes, it's all around appreciation, and even that's a great habit where you just get to think and reflect on all the things that you appreciate, all those things that you're grateful for. So whatever, there's a lot of methods, right? To from writing it down to verbalizing it to meditating on it, and certainly much more. I think the best thing you could do for a little bit is just sit down and reflect on all those things that you're grateful for and start there.
Well, I think that's, yes. In fact, we talk a lot about doing our coaching work and all of that, and I think the self-reflection is the most important part of all of that work. So if it's going to work there, right? Me working with other people, getting them to self-reflect so that they can improve themselves. Why wouldn't it work on me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the whole self-reflection and find out what is it that I want, where am I going, but what am I doing right now, and who's involved, and being grateful for those folks. One other thing that my father passed 23 years ago, and I still talk to him.
Yeah.
Much more than I did 23 years ago.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, same as me. I feel you. Mine passed 25 years ago, April 25th, and actually it was 26 years this year. And you go back 5, 7 years, some I didn't even talk about because I compartmentalized so bad. But yeah, I'm thankful for him. I talk to him. I mean, it's an outlet, right? I mean, there's just so many outlets in your life that you can appreciate and show gratitude. Well, as always, thank you for listening. Happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Yeah, and enjoy it and enjoy the freedom.
Yep,
right?
and be safe.
Until next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining us for the CEO Podcast. Please visit us at theceopodcast.net, where you can learn more about our co-hosts and listen to past episodes. If you would like to have a discussion and dive deeper into any topic, there is also an option to contact Scott or Vince to schedule some time with them. Thanks for listening.